silent so that, yeah, so that if while you're down it, you'll see now in a little while is talking, you don't get put off by anything. Just a little bit about the show, alright? So it's basically a story of what I was brought up to be educated in, the famine, the Irish famine, the potato blight. And famine is a word that I have a problem with in this whole thing. I'm not very political, but I am very much into my history. And the truth of the matter is that around my home village of Killala, which a lot of you will know, it was a famous shipping seaport, so there was plenty of food there, there was plenty of fish, there was plenty of everything. But unfortunately the poorer members of our society, which are the people that me and you came from, didn't have access to that. What was happening on a weekly basis was that the army of the time was actually exporting the food out of Killala on the trains and on the roads and on the boats to basically feed another nation, not us. And that's really where it came from. So there's a Gorta Mór, that's obviously a common phrase to everybody from their education. Genocide is a word we also use in this show a little bit. It's not aimed at criticising the English people, the British people of today, but it certainly does criticise those of the time, 1844 to 1848. I'd like to really thank everybody for investing their next 2 hours in coming to this show. All of the songs that you're going to hear tonight are original. I've written all of this show, every word really. So to me it's like this little girl over here, it's my baby. That's Aoife, my youngest daughter, who will perform later on as well, and my eldest daughter, who's in the audience here, Katie, is also going to give us a twist. To open the show, an actor from Ballina, a very talented man called Tommy Ford, is going to come out and just give a 6 or 7 minute monologue, which is actually set at the end of the event, so it's around 1848, 1849 time, given one priest's view of what happened, because the church came in for an awful lot of criticism too, but ultimately the priest on the ground didn't really have any control over what was happening either. So he's going to give a version of events that reflects on that, and then we'll get stuck into 12 chapters of a story to my right hand side where Dana will be, and then I'll be over on this corner making a little bit of noise, seeing how it goes. Alright, so with that, I'd just like to say thanks again for coming, and we'll see you on stage in a couple of minutes. Okay?
Reverend Anthony Cork from the parish of Colleen in the county of Meath. In 1841, I served the spiritual needs to 593 homes. A few years later, in the year of our Lord, 1848, that number was an even 400. 193 homes lost. And lost also were the souls that dwelled within. 1/3 of our people gone. I am told that we are surviving the famine. How, I ask you, can this be a famine when cartloads of food are being evacuated by sea and road on a daily basis? Well-fed soldiers with guns in hand and the law on their side, clearing a path by whatever means necessary. What, say I, can you tell me about the cost of death? What, say I, can you tell me about the damnation and destruction of a humble and wretched people? What can you teach me about survival? And what can you say to make things better? Nothing. Nothing. Do I question nature? Yes. Do I question mankind? Yes. Do I question God, our Father? Yes. Yes, I do. Questions, questions, but no answers I can understand. To hear the cries and canes of a dead farmer's daughter as she rattles the church gate and begs for salvation. And me within with nothing to offer, only prayer. This hunger is destroying our people. The poor of the parish die every single day. And those with some means, well, they just board a boat to die a different type of death. The new Bishop of Colleen, Tamuso Fiend, he has instructed us to offer nothing but prayer, and that his purse is empty. And yet he guides his flock from behind the palace door. I question his efforts. I question his efforts to submit Rome to charitable ways. In fact, I question whether he contacted them at all. I have seen Rome, the wealth, the commerce, the business of God. They lavish themselves with the best in the world, and to hell with the cost, while their precious flock tumble and fall and rot and die. But to aim blame solely at Rome is not right either. London and Dublin are the masters of this genocide. Murderous bastards that will get their just rewards on Judgment Day. And I know that those that are left will blame me for not doing more. But more is something that I don't have. Nothing is what I have. Nothing but words and compassion and empathy and love. I know of no other nation that has embraced Christianity as this one. I know of no other nation that has immersed itself in Catholicism as this one. And I know of no other nation that has given so much to the church as this one. And yet, in their most desperate time of need, we turned our backs on them. I wasn't nailed to the cross. But by God, my people surely were.
It's a very stark image to start our show with. And it's one that I had to consider and think about. I think it's violent and it's very sad. But unfortunately, when we imagine the realities of this so-called famine, that was what was left. I'm not going to trouble people with too much more imagery of that type, but to open the show, I thought that we should ground ourselves in where we're at. Can I just ask everybody maybe to give a very warm welcome to your storyteller tonight, Miss Edana Barrett. And again, for the show tonight, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking. I might, depends how I feel. That's Idana's job. What we're going to do in a moment is show a little video, a trailer video that we shot down at the beautiful Downpatrick Head. This was designed for our American audience. We brought the show over to America last May to a town called Scranton, which also features very heavily in the show tonight. The reason that I picked Downpatrick Head, apart from its obvious beauty, was the fact that that community, no more than Killala, no more than Geesala, no more than Belmullet or Blacksod, were absolutely desolated. And all around that coastline and that headland, the land is scarred with these remains of what I call the famine cottages. The thing that really, if I'm driving from here to my father's home place in County Armagh, you see them left and right on every road. Again, it's something that we probably don't notice as we're moving around, but that's why they're there. So yeah, hopefully the sound on this is going to work out alright as well. This is the end of my talk. And the little golden cross on the screen here really it just reflects the graveyards that we're going to talk about. What does it mean? A nation dying of inner decay, a churchyard silence where life has been, the base of the pyramid crumbling away, a drift of men gone over the sea, the drift of the dead where men should be.
Chapter 1, Killala. Sean O'Gaughan is from the village of Killala in County Mayo. He is a peasant farmer, but in no way is he a pauper. His family farm on a tiny holding of land, about an acre, where they grow potatoes and also keep a few hens. Things could be worse. Sean has had to grow up quickly, losing his father, who was also named Sean, several years earlier to fever. Sean is the main breadwinner in his home. His widowed mother, Bridget, and his 3 younger sisters all depend on him for their survival. The year is 1844, and while life is tough on the west coast of Ireland, they are doing all right. Sean's eldest sister, Sarah, who is 16, gets some work from time to time at the local landlord's estate, where she mends clothes and helps with the milking. The castle in Killala is owned by Walter J. Burke, a man who is seen to be fair and honest by his tenants. Roseanne and Mary Gaughan are 13 and 12 years of age. They help with the chores and receive a little schooling from the local village schoolmaster, Arthur Finnerty. Killala is a busy place, with boats and ships passing through the quay to and from America, and other places like England, Western Scotland, and wider Europe. Immigration has already taken a hold in Ireland, and over the past 20 years, about 15% of the young men and women of the Killala area have left for America and England. The locals think that this is a desperate state of affairs, and little do they know the worst is yet to come. Ireland is controlled by the British, and Killala is managed in a particularly harsh manner. The British remember that this was the place where over 1,000 men rose against the Crown, not 50 years earlier, and they are determined that such a thing will never reoccur.
I'd like to tell you about my home, where millions of memories there roam, built in 1,000,000 years of stone. There's nowhere that I'd rather go. Tower high, 1,000 feet up in the pale blue sky. He watches old Killala break. There's nowhere that I'd rather stay. Would rather be this place, the making of myself. It's where I learned to laugh and learn to cry. Of the 20 years I've done, I remember everyone, and all of those who passed me on the way. My heart is full of every single day. And Jimmy's boat stands on the pier, with Bertram Ross's point, they call me near. Smell of fish and diesel, since it's clear. There's nowhere that I love like here. Would rather be nowhere else this place, the making of myself. It's where I've learned to laugh and learn to cry. Of the 20 years I've done, I remember everyone, and all of those who died along the way. My heart is full of every single day. I'd rather be place, the making of myself. It's where I learned to laugh and learn to cry. Of the 20 years I've done, I remember everyone, and all of those who passed me on the way. My heart is full of every single day.
Chapter 2, Colleen. It is now Christmas of 1844, and Sean meets a newly arrived herdsman's daughter, Colleen Boyle. She is about 10 years younger than Sean, and like him, she has had to grow up quickly, as her mother passed away during the birth of Colleen's next-born sibling. Colleen has come from further up the coast, a place called Donegal, where her father left his home to try and improve their situation. He had remarried, but alas, was widowed twice. Colleen is the first girl that Sean has ever spent any amount of significant time with. They hit it off straight away and they are drawn to each other. They share similar hopes and dreams. Quickly, love burns bright and the pair can't be separated. They talk of a future together, free from the oppressive hand of the Queen's Empire and the local militia men. Queen Victoria, like King William IV before her, has done nothing but keep the people down. Sean wants to find a place where he can raise a family and make enough money to support his mother and sisters too. He dreams of owning a larger plot of ground, a herd of good animals and a large crop yield. He is very focused and committed to making that happen, and he believes that someday he will. Christmas in 1844 is just like today, a time for hope, and Sean Oak certainly knows how to dream. He sees how the wealthy Burke family live and fantasises about providing Colleen with a similar standard of living.
That's taken over me. All I can say is that you are the nicest girl you see. I feel me heart is thumping, yeah, it's bursting through my chest. Each time I see your pretty face, that's when I'm at my best. To me, you light up this concern. Oh, Colleen, won't you walk a while? Tell me all you've learned. You are the most amazing thing. You're this world's nicest girl. I never felt like this before, but I know something great. When work is done, we'll have our time, rest by the oak trees. You know, my darling Colleen, you're the nicest girl to me, yeah. fire. I loved you from the start. The first time that you touched my face filled me up with need. I love you till the moon and back. You're everything, Colleen. Your beauty can't be matched for me. Your pale skin and your curl. Your voice like music sings to me. You light up this young soul. Oh, Colleen, won't you walk a while? Tell me all you've learned. You are the most amazing thing. You're this world's nicest girl. You are the most amazing thing. You're this world's nicest.
Chapter 3. The Blight. It is now 1845, and the year so far has been good. Sean has worked hard during the summer months to cultivate and grow his potatoes for the winter months ahead. He has also become so much closer to his darling Colleen. On a damp, late summer's morning, Sean drives his spade into the stony earth, and what he sees below, it turns his world upside down. Below the ground he finds blackened tubers, soggy and rotten and not fit to eat. His neighbours all find the same thing, and it is obvious that they're in big trouble. About half of the crop in the county has been ruined, but in the Moy Valley area, the outcome is even worse. There isn't enough food in storage to last the winter, and Sean knows that he must do something drastic. He is able to gather some small quantities of shellfish along the shore, but he doesn't know how to fish in the ocean, and he doesn't own a boat. The truth is that none of the poor locals have boats or nets. Fish is being sold off to merchants and is not available on the quayside. The rivers and lakes are closed to Irish peasants by the local landowning gentry. Punishment for poaching in 1850s Ireland can include imprisonment and exile. Sean has some money saved, about £10, but there is little food available for sale locally to purchase with this cash. It is hard to believe that such a productive agricultural area has such paltry amounts of food on general sale. The only way that his money can serve him now is to use it to pay for his passage to another land. If things do not improve next year, he will have to go away. He decides to wait the winter and struggles to survive.
Thank you, Dennis. It's hard to believe that a rich man can't feed himself. For this song, there's no pictures in the background. I think we just need to listen to the words.
Oh, Colleen, what we do, my land is dying. Our spuds are turning black, the winter cold. I feel as by God I've all been forsaken. and to sing, God, now have mercy on my soul. My land is dying, my country's damned, my people crying, they're beat and slammed. If the winter doesn't kill us, the hunger surely will. We need miracles, so God, my land is dying. We know stories from the past, they say the first time. Sure, my father told me many moons ago. Potato blight, it came and stole our bounty. With no food, you know, the hunger killed me slow. My land is dying, my country's damned, my people crying, they're beat and slammed. If the winter doesn't kill us, the hunger surely will. We need miracles, so God, my land is dying. There'll be no help from the British Empire rulers. There'll be no interventions here from Rome. I know, my girl, this will be devastating. I just pray for now, don't leave me on my own. My land is dying, my country's damned, my people crying, we're beat and slammed. If the winter doesn't kill us, the hunger surely will. We need miracles, oh God, my land is dying. If the winter doesn't kill us, the hunger surely will. We need miracles, Colleen, my hand is dying.
Chapter 4, 46 and the Trouble. Most people survived the winter of 45 in Killala, although several older members of the community have died of a so-called sickness. The spring and summer of 1846 is a very scary time. People are nervous and awaiting the crop. Very few seed potatoes were saved last year, but the few that were are viable to be put to work. The stems come up, the growth is promising. Late June comes, and then horror. It appears that the crop is starting to fail again. Sean knows that he must go away to try and save his family. Death rates in Mayo are starting to creep up. The workhouses are filling up too, with 1,700 people recorded in the workhouse in Ballina on one night of census during this terrible time. If Sean does not go away, then his family will certainly end up in the Ballina workhouse, or perhaps worse, in the graveyard. If he does go, there may be some hope of avoiding this terrible fate. July 1st, and it is now or never for Sean. He manages to purchase some hens for the local big house following a visit to Walter J. Burke. He has told Mr. Burke that he is going to America in an attempt to save his family. Sean gives the hens to his mother and hopes that they will last the winter. Sean purchases a ticket for the ship Elizabeth and Sarah, a 70-year-old timber frigate which is due to leave Killalakey for North America on the 24th day of the month. England is closer than North America, but he cannot stay there under the British Crown, not when knowing how badly Irish people are treated over there. So he settles on going to America. He will earn enough money in one winter to send for his family.
I meant to say that all the references we're making tonight are actually true. The research, this boat, the Elizabeth and Sarah, sailed from Killalakey on the dates given, and this is the true story actually.
Oh, Colleen, I'm going away for a while. This damage means that I've just run all out of time. And Colleen, oh, when I've made my way, I'll send for you, my darling. Come to the USA. Oh, the blight, it struck, it killed all our families' keep. While the British exported our fish and our grain and our meat. Some call it a famine, I call it genocide. 1 million of us dying in fields and by roadsides. And Colleen, won't you say a prayer for me? I have to travel only over the sea. Our neighbors and cousins' lands taken away. Now the only hope for survival is if I just don't stay. And Colleen, won't you do just one thing for me? Look after me sisters and mother till I come for ye. Oh, Colleen, this breaks my heart, you know. I'll return for you, my darling, as fast as I can go. Oh, the blight, it struck, it killed all our families' keep. While the masters exported our fish and our grain and our meat. Some call it famine, I call it genocide. A million of us dying in the fields and the roadsides. Some call it a famine, I call it genocide. We'll lie there nearly rotting in the fields and the roadsides.
Chapter 5. The Journey. Many thousands of Irish fled to America in 45 and 46. Unfortunately, up to 15% of the people who set sail never actually made it to the US. The coffin ships were a curse, and the damned and downtrodden were victims to terrible conditions and poor treatment. The Elizabeth and Sarah is no exception. A vessel that is only fit to carry 200 passengers leaves Killala with over 280 souls on board. An allowance of food and water has been agreed with each passenger as part of the terms of their ticket. Mercenary skippers and ship's masters dictate that these rations will be minimised so as to increase the profits of their enterprise. Sure, what were another few dead paddies in the grand scheme of things? The ship departs from Killala on a warm summer's morning and makes its way out of Killala Bay, swinging port side out to Dumbrishta, and eventually catching good winds as they cruise by the Mullet Peninsula. Most passengers have never stepped on board a sailboat, and they struggle to find their sea legs. Many get sick and some never recover. This is due to the very poor hygiene that they experience, and many berths aboard the ship are littered with human waste of all constituents. Disease affects the weakest, and by the 10th day of their voyage, 2 people have already died. This figure will rise to 49 by the time they land in Quebec. No priest or preacher has made the journey, and the role of pastor falls on Sean Oak's shoulders. He can read a little, and he has carried a small Bible which was given to him by Colleen's father, a token of luck and consolation. Day after day, the strongest of the group prepared the dead in crude cloth sacks and the poor stricken victims from a stretcher into the depths of the great wild Atlantic Ocean. 72 days at sea is punishment enough for any man, but when the food rations stop after day 45, this leads to unbelievable hardship. The crew members are cruel, and they beat and harness any man who dares stand up to them. Some died of disease and sickness, others of dehydration and hunger. Some more, I feel, died from broken hearts.
This is called Coffin Ship. My father, who's in the audience tonight, helped me to write it. I suppose it's just occurring to me now. I see a good friend of mine up there at the back, Aidan Sweeney, spent some time in the States, more than myself, travelling over and back that ocean a few times. We'd complain about maybe 8 hours on an airplane. Compare that to 72 days on a boat, where basically people are rotting away beside you. So this is Coffin Ships.
See, the things are greener on the far side of the hill. So many souls have left the shores, the dreams just to fulfill. I could be so blinded by gold from far off shores. Many fell along the wayside, their homes to see no more. We had to eat the seaweed, the shellfish from the strand, to fish in lakes and rivers, forbidden outlawed band, caught along the river with a gaff or rod in hand, was a ticket to Australia, some cold Van Diemen's land. Oh, 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 oh. The landlords, they were robbers. They took our crops of grain, exported back to England to fill Trevelyan's trains. Potatoes rotten in the fields, our people starved to death. I prayed for dying neighbours as they took their final breath. My journey's just beginning as I close the deckside door. I'm walking in the footsteps where millions went before. My life seems so uncertain, my future's so unclear. In a starving land, my Colleen, yeah, just full-time crying tear. Oh, 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 oh. My small black book, my Bible, is working every day. As we lay our dead upon the deck, we kneel in fear and pray. Their bodies wrapped in rags and sheets, we slide them off the side, and we watch them drop to the deep below. From death we cannot hide. I've never been a sailing man, I hope I never will. This wretched timber coffin ship, there's nothing there but kill. The bastard crew with whips and chains, they keep the fight back down. They keep the food, they keep the drink, more murder by the crowd. Oh,
Chapter 6, New World Dreams. Sean makes his way out of Canada and gets to New York. He finds his own people there, and he is now in high spirits and full of hope and ambition. Nothing can go wrong now, and he is ready to make his fortune. Most of the Irish men and women who arrive there in their thousands have never seen so much as a 3-story building at home. Apart from the occasional storehouse, so landing in New York, Chicago, Boston, or Philadelphia is a massive culture shock. Sean Oak finds work in the dock warehouses, working as a carter's mate. He has a lot of experience working with horses and mules, and is strong enough to work a 14-hour day for his boss. The docks are a tough place to be, but nothing could be tougher than the place from where he has come. Many of the new Irish go off the rails and lose their heads. With some money in their pockets and access to all the vices that follow the dockland and sailing industries, men are regularly rounded up by the local constables for drunkenness, fighting, gambling and fornication. The Irish and Italian communities are regularly at each other's throats, vying for control of the docks and the business that surround them. Gangs are formed and men are killed, yet churches are built and the honest working folk can and do stay out of these dens of iniquity. Sean is working with a group of men from Galway, Mayo and Sligo. They call themselves the Free Men of the West, and for the next few months, New York appears to be a pretty generous master to all. The wages aren't great, but in time they will have enough cash to start a new life for all of their families.
The words to this song are actually going to appear behind me on the screen. I'm not going to try to keep up with it or whatever, but I've done that a few times, but basically it's a different style of song. This one is called We've Sailed Across the Atlantic Sea.
We've landed in the city of all nations. We've broken out and now we are set free. And I surely tell you, man, that we don't give a bloody damn. We made our way across the deadly seas. When the bosses come and ask, they'll surely know me. I'm an Irishman that's strong and proud and free. We'll slap them on the hand and take the work of the ones damned. We fought our way across the deadly seas. Young Dylan from up Oxford said, how are you? He's tipped us off a job, a handsome fee. If you swing your axe and pole, you'll get to save your family's souls. We made our way across the Atlantic seas. There are men from South Armagh and from Killarney. There are boys from North Mayo, Sligo at Lone. And when the gaffers land and put a spade into my hand, I'll work alongside people from my home. Now we know it won't be easy, but we're ready to work the best we can for native foes. We know we must comply, if we don't turn we'll surely die. We made our way across the deep below. Yeah, we know we must comply, if we don't turn we'll surely die. We made our way across the deep below.
We're going to take a quick 10-minute interval for any of you tea and coffee drinkers and smokers or whatever you're into. So we'll see you back here 10-15 minutes, okay? Thank you very much.